All right. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Tyler from Newhouse Lock Key. How are things going?
They're going good, man. Just kind of hanging out and doing my thing.
I like it. I like it. So I want to kind of go back a little bit, talk about a few things. But, one of the things that you've always done on the internet, just for the people watching, is you don't ever show your face, right? You only do hand videos.
There's been a couple accidental times, but never on purpose.
Okay. Smart man. So excited to talk about all things. But before we get kind of going here, I just kind of want to rewind a little bit. And I want to make sure that everyone kind of knows who you are, kind of what you do on the internet, and what you do also just, with your business as well. So yeah. Do you want to fill us in a little?
So as far as on YouTube and TikTok and things like that, I pick locks. I do a little bit of lockpick designing here and there as I come across things I want to try out. And other than that, I just have some fun with it.
Yes. Now, and you also do run a Discord, right?
Yes, correct. I do have a Discord server.
All right. Well, yeah, we have, I think, right now around 88 or so people tuned in with us. And so I'd love for you to say, hey, why should someone come check out your Discord and kind of fill us in on it?
We have a good group of people over there that pick locks. So if you ever have any kind of interest in learning to pick locks, if you don't already know, if you do already know, there's a lot of us in there that can help you out and figure out how to do things easier.
Awesome. Very cool. And is there a preferred method when it comes to this type of stuff that you like? Would you like them to go follow you on YouTube or subscribe to your channel or go to the Discord? What would you like?
So the easiest way to get to the Discord group is to go to the top of my YouTube channel. In the description, it has a link right there for you to join.
Okay. Awesome. And so, yeah, and if someone wouldn't mind, maybe if you're a part of what Newhouse is already doing, or if you can grab the link and throw it in the chat, that would be awesome for people to check out. So awesome. And then Tyler, what do you do for your day job?
So I run a locksmith business, and that's honestly only part-time. Okay. I would like to make it full-time eventually. It just hasn't happened yet.
Very cool. So yeah, not only do you do locksmithing in real life, but you also do all the online stuff as well. So pretty cool.
Correct.
Pretty cool. All right. So I just want to rewind a little bit. First of all, I want to say, thanks for being around and being a part of the Lockboss community for quite some time. So, you really are one of the OGs. So I just want to say not only, thank you for your business, but also just kind of thanks for being here and always being so kind. So I just want to make sure I thank you for that. But yeah, so here a little bit ago, you had sent me these right here, these rewind picks. And Tyler, I don't know if I had told you in particular, but I remember my dad was sitting in here and I was like, hey, Dad, check this out. And I can't remember which one I grabbed. And I just grabbed one and I just went back to the toolbox that we had in here and I put it in and I just simply picked the lock. And he was like, what is that? And do you sell those? And I was like, Tyler actually just sent me all this stuff and I don't necessarily know, but I knew you were onto something at that point. But I would love, before we get into how they work and kind of answer anyone's questions that they have, I would love to hear how the rewind picks came to be. And then also, of course, how'd you come up with the name?
So as far as the name comes, the original term for how you use them and everything is a reverse pick. It's reverse picking a wafer lock. So I wanted to stick along the same lines as that, but I wanted it to have an actual name. So I just went with rewind.
Okay. It's cool. It's actually a cool name.
And then as far as how they were made, started probably about 5 years ago. If you look, this key is actually the very first one that I ever made. And I was testing it out in a truck toolbox that I had on the back of my truck at the time. And then I kind of worked my way into figuring out what size feeler gauge works best and went to this and was selling this one on Etsy for a long time. And then probably about a year ago, or 2 years ago now, I guess, I got in contact with Southern Specialties because I wanted to build a shop and sell some stuff on there. And I was talking to them about doing a couple of things, and this was one of the tools that I talked to them about. And they said, if you design it and send us a sample or something, we can make it. And so This was kind of the original one made out of one of their blanks that they sell over there. And you can see I marked it with the indicator lines with marker, and then they actually laser engraved them.
Yeah, very cool. And so you came out with 3 different ones, right? If you can kind of walk us through why someone would want to use one of the 3 over another.
So the pocket one is just basically what it's called. It's a pocket set. You can throw in your pocket or a small bag. Don't take up much room. As far as the 2 different thicknesses, so the smaller 20 thousandths will fit most locks, but once in a while you'll come across like a trailer hitch lock or something like that has spring-loaded core. And I found that when you're using a 20 thousandths, it wants to twist the pick a little bit. So to avoid that, we had the 25 thousandths one made so that it wasn't doing that.
Okay. Yeah, and so actually on that topic here for a second, it's one of those things that, do you need a tension tool with this, with the rewind pick?
No, not at all.
Correct.
In fact, most locks you can't even fit one in.
Yeah, because you're actually using the rewind pick as a tension tool and a pick at the same time. Correct.
And there is one kind of thing to that is sometimes if you're having a little trouble getting it to set, if you get it to the end and still have force on it, if you do it a little bit harder than normal or a little bit more tension than normal and grab a bump hammer and smack the lock, sometimes that'll get it to pop as well.
Okay, very interesting. And so now, Tyler, if you could on the kind of show on the camera, I think you can kind of see on mine here. I want to talk about the little marks that are there. So what exactly are they on there for? Like if someone gets it and they try to use this, little wafer lock.
Well, so one of the problems that I have using them is I tend to want to pull it out too fast and it slides out and then I don't get to open. So I added those there. That way I could tell how far I had the tool out. And that way I wasn't slipping out too far anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
so
on
that's kind of an indication how close you're getting to the tip.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a little indicator for you there. And then also, like, at least on the ones I'm holding here, the laser cut grooves in here are actually pretty thick.
Yes. Right? So that is the way that they're grooved like that is just accidental byproduct of having it done so dark.
Oh, okay.
I found like if this is one of the ones that they prototype that they made, and if you look on one side, they're real light and the other side's a little darker. You can see those ones a little bit better. If the light glares on the lighter one a little bit, you can't see them at all. So I had them do them darker. That way that wasn't a problem.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. So there's not like a ton of functionality per se with the grooves. Like physically, it's more of like an indicator to see where you're at when you're pulling it out.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. And what type of locks would you say are perfect for these type of picks, and which type of locks don't even attempt?
Well, they don't work in vehicle locks at all. They're not wide enough for vehicle locks. I did try to make a version of that for the older style vehicle locks, and I had trouble even getting them to work. I've seen people do it. I've done it with blanks on a few models, but I was having trouble even getting them to work, so I just scrapped that idea altogether. But any kind of desk drawer lock that's a wafer lock, or a file cabinet lock, truck toolboxes, anything that has a wafer lock like that. And in fact, sometimes even with these locks, you'll find that you don't even need to pull the pick out because it'll just turn.
Yes. As a matter of fact, yeah, that's what I have. I've found myself.
And then I've found several people that have told me that they've done it with certain brand, and I can't remember what brand they were, with file cabinets, and it works like a core puller.
Yes. I was showing someone here. Who was it? I was showing someone here, and I actually, pushed it all the way into the back, right, to the one that, holds it in. And and it started pulling the core out. But, if you could, while we're here with one of the locks you have, can you do like if possible, I don't want to necessarily put you on the spot too bad, but if you could take like that lock you have and like do like a slow-mo type of a version of showing people kind of how to use, because there is a little, would finesse be the right word? to kind of learn how to do it, because you have to apply tension and you have to pull it out at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly. So like, I got this nice little cutaway that another gentleman made for me just to show this off. And so if you can slide that in there all the way to the back, and sometimes you got to wiggle it to get it past those wafers, and slowly pull that out until you get past all the wafers. And if you do it right, which I didn't, you got to have the right amount of tension on there. Once you get to the end, it'll turn. And then sometimes you got to have more tension than others. Like for this particular lock, I have to have a whole lot more tension going counterclockwise than I do clockwise.
Okay, yeah, and while you're doing that, and we're kind of talking about tension, actually, if you wouldn't mind holding that up and kind of putting that in, and show us like what does it look like when it's just in there without any tension on it, just kind of just neutral. And if you can kind of like walk through like how you kind of think about the feel of how much tension you're putting on it.
Honestly, I'll try it like a real light tension at first, and I'll just work my way up until I get it to turn.
Okay. Yeah. So just start and, keep going and start with very light tension, and then continue to do more and more would probably be a good way to put it.
Correct. Okay. And that's like for some of these locks to go, I have more trouble going counterclockwise with a lot of them as far as needing more tension than I do going clockwise on a lot of these. And I'm not sure if there's a particular reason for that.
Sure.
This one wants to give me trouble now.
Yeah. Isn't that always the case when you have a camera rolling, right?
Exactly. There we go.
Or in particular live, right?
Absolutely. Yes. The other thing that they work really well for is if you happen to have one of those U-line bypass tools, these work really well for lifting the wafers in those as well, or lifting the pins in those.
Okay, that's cool. And now, what do you think about this, Tyler? What I have found is by far the pocket pick is the most popular, right?
Yes, correct.
We've sold out of these several times, and I think we actually only have a few left. We have more coming, but
I'm actually sold out of them myself right now.
All right, yeah. Last time I looked, I think we had like 10 left. Over the weekend, we sold between the three, I think around 130 or so, something like that. But something I found with these pocket ones is I don't know, maybe I'm using it wrong, but tell me what you think about this. I like to be able to put the 025 in particular if I can. And I kind of use this one as my tensioner.
Yep, and that's typically what I do is I'll usually hold it just about like this, and I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, it's just nice having this extra like leverage piece here.
Exactly, yeah. Gives you a little bit feel for it.
Yes. Yeah, so that's kind of the cool part about this particular set here. Is there any particular questions or things that you get asked a lot about the rewind, like that?
The biggest question I always have, and I find it the funniest, is what's the symbol mean?
And so, Tyler, if I may, what does the symbol mean?
It's literally the rewind symbol off a remote.
Yes. It makes actually complete sense. It's like the Rewind Picks logo.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
I like it. For someone who is like, this is kind of a cool concept. I want to try it out. But they get them. And I've seen some comments, or I think even a week or two ago, I saw some guys in the chat talking about that. They've had a hard time getting them to work. Like if you had one or two tips to help them kind of figure out how to use it, what would those couple tips be?
Most of the time when I see people having trouble, they're a little heavy on the tension.
Okay. A little too much tension.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Most people want to stick it in there and do it like they're trying to pick a lock and giving it that much tension, whereas these are a little closer to actually having the key. If you use too much tension, it's not going to turn.
Yes. Yeah, it makes complete sense. It's kind of like something, when I learned, and quick fun fact, but this was actually in 2002. I was at a trade show in Reno, Nevada, and have you ever heard of Jerry Levine? He was part of he was part of the Locksmith Ledger for like decades. Okay. And we were sitting at a table with him. My dad had known him for years, and we were talking about lockpicking. And he was like, PJ, the biggest thing that, he had seen at least in 2002 was people like to use way too much tension. And he kind of spent some time, kind of walked me through tension, the concept of tension in picking a lock. And no joke, after he told me this, like he gave me so much confidence that I entered into the lockpicking competition in 2002 when I was 17 at the time, and won it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was really just because I guarantee you, if he didn't tell me and talk to me about tension, I would have I don't even think I would have ever picked the lock once, to be honest with you.
And that was my biggest thing learning, was how much tension to use on things. Once I got that down, it was just a hell of a lot easier. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So I say that to say that, yeah, learning even on these with tension is, I think, something that, you definitely want to spend a little bit of time, thinking through, or maybe experimenting would be the right word. And the nice thing about these is if you're having trouble using other things like picking the locks, which they're Wafer locks, they're not that bad. But these tend to be a little bit easier to use once you get the hang of it. In fact, I'm sure you've talked to Aaron from Southern Specialties. I don't know if I've actually ever talked to him before. Okay. I'm not sure. I usually talk to him instead of Jeff. Okay. But he was saying when I first sent him over and he first started making them, he gave a pair to his son, and his son was using those, and his son really enjoys them. And cool. I think he said his son was like 7 at the time, if I remember correctly. That's awesome. And how long ago did you come up with this idea and have Southern make them for you? So Southern started making them for me back in 2024, right around November. Okay. So, and what is that, year and a few months? Yep. And then this key one was actually made about 5 years ago. And I actually, probably about 4 years ago when I started making this one, I gave the idea to Sparrows and they didn't want to go with it. He said he couldn't get nothing open with the one that I had sent him. Okay. Interesting. And so, so speaking of that, a few things that I kind of want to point out, and then I want to get to the rest of all the other items you have sitting up there, which is, so thanks to you. So you sent me some samples and you were kind enough to give Southern permission to allow us to sell them. So first of all, I'd like to publicly thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. But along with that, and I think it's only proper to make sure that everybody knows that, like, you also sell these on your own website. Yep, absolutely do. Yep. And so, something you don't hear a seller like me really ever say is go to someone else's website and buy something. But I definitely want to, make sure I say thank you to you. And then, hey, if people want to check out Newhouse Lock Key's website and buy some picks or buy whatever that he has over there that looks interesting to you, please do it, and support Tyler in that. But with that said, I would love, if you want, with those other items you have up there on your screen, those are items that, we don't sell. But if you want to talk people through what they are, I'd love to give you the floor to do so. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start here. This one I don't sell either. I just made a couple of them handmade. And honestly, they're made out of really big sewing needles. But it is a quick set bypass tool. You pull this part back from the door and slide in through the hole that's there, and you can pull the spindle over. Oh, that's cool. And I got a couple videos of me using that on lockouts and things. Oh, man, back in the day, Tyler, when I worked for my dad, Tylos were like everywhere out there, and I could have definitely used that. Yep. And that's what I believe Brokerage makes their own version of that tool. Yep. Oh, yeah, but for the new smart keys. Yes. Yep. And then, so let me grab an older bypass knife just so I can show you why I made that one. A lot of the times when you're using the bypass knives like these to slip the latches, it will fall into that strike hole and give you like a false opening at first. When you're doing it, you got to end up trying a couple times. Whereas this one was designed not to have that issue. Okay. And then is that the thickness of that tool? Is it 025 or 020? What is that? 020. 020. Okay. Yep. I made them a little bit thinner because I wanted it to be a little bit more flexible with that wider head on there. Cool. And then I did talk to to Jimmy. I sent him one for him to test out, and he asked about a longer handle one. So I've been testing this one out and seeing how it's doing.
Oh, very nice. So same head, just longer handle.
Correct.
And so in particular, if someone struggles with false openings, that right there, a Newhouse solved that problem for you.
Yep. And then the reason it's the shape that it is because I wanted to avoid running into the screws in the strike plate.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And then I have my non-prototype one laying here somewhere. I have so much stuff out here that it's ridiculous. This is the prototype for my Nexus tension wrench that I have. And it's basically a bottom of the keyway on one side, top of the keyway on the other. I had a cheap Chinese set of lockpicks when I first started that came with this tension wrench without the cutout on the bottom. And I ended up using that way more than any other tension wrench that I owned. And I had nicer ones. I liked that one so much. So I got Southern Specialties to make me my own, and they did such a good job on it, I started selling them myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I believe, I don't know where my pick set is at the moment, but you did send me one of those. And
I was going to say, I think I sent you one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool concept, kind of put 2 in 1 in that. And so is that your go-to tension wrench or tension tool, today?
That's the only tension wrench I use on lockouts.
Okay.
And even when I'm at the bench, that's 90% of the time what I'm using, unless I find a lock that's a little too small for it to fit in.
Okay, that's cool.
And I just have some,
for the record, since we're on the topic, are you a bottom? Are you primarily a bottom of keyway or top of keyway guy?
It just depends. If I'm single pin picking, I'll go to the top of the keyway. If I'm raking, I'll go to the bottom.
Okay.
And then these are just some rakes, some hybrid rakes that I had made up. See if I can find the loose one here so I don't got to pull that one off.
Oh, sure. Is there anything about those in particular when you designed that you really liked? Or as far as features or...
So I wanted something that you could rake with, but also if you got into a false set, you didn't have to grab another pick to get your spool pins to set. So I left that tip there, and it's actually based off of a jack-o'-lantern smile.
I see it now that you say that.
And so, let's see if I can. It was pretty much meant so I could go in here and quickly rake. It's not going to work with this lock while I'm on this live. Let's grab a different one. Try the other way.
It's the fun.
Got that into that false set.
Yep.
And then you just go in there and find your spool pin and pick out your spool pin.
It's kind of what makes it. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah, you know what? Julio just gave you some applause there. You hear that?
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, Julio.
I'm actually working on a new pick set now that I haven't released yet. I haven't even got the designs over to Southern yet.
Ooh, man, check out that reacher right there.
Oh, yeah, it's real deep. It works really well on the American 1100s, too.
Okay.
And then this one is real nice. It's like a little hybrid rake hook thing. And
that's interesting.
Matter of fact, I have a brand new mortise cylinder from you guys.
All right, let's see it.
And that's the keyway for it, or the key for it.
Okay. Yes, I like it. That is cool. Now, is that shim on the back of that? Is that what that is?
It is. It is a piece of mica shim.
Very nice.
I always throw those in my cases just so I have an extra shim.
Yeah, never hurts, right? And it actually looks like it's probably a little easier getting the picks in and out if I were to guess.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool hack. Tyler, the amount of the little things that you have thought through that are super helpful on all this stuff that you've been going over is pretty amazing.
I pretty much just try to take my own experience. And then when I was designing this, I had thought a long time about putting how they have the cutouts on these ones so that you can pull. And I talked to a lot of people in a couple different Discord groups, and everybody was saying the same thing. 90% of lockouts that people go to that they use a shove knife for is residential, and it's push. Hardly anybody ever does the pull ones. And if they do, they're using something like a traveler's hook.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Yeah, that's a cool tool. That's a really cool tool, Tyler. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I've been watching the chat here, all sorts of different people saying all sorts of pretty cool things about the products that you have made. So nice work on that.
Thank you very much.
And well, as we kind of wrap up here a little bit, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or demonstrate? I want to make sure I can kind of give you the floor.
Nothing that I can think of. I got a live coming on after this at probably about a half hour after we end here.
Okay. And are you and you're live on YouTube, right?
Correct.
Very cool. So, hey, if you're hanging out right with us right now and you want to see what Tyler's up to and the stuff he has going on, head on over to his YouTube channel, subscribe to it, hang out. And yeah, that's really cool. Now, I see that people are asking me to try now too. And, I should have got a lock prepared, but I didn't. I wonder... Tyler, can you really see this very well? Can you see that at all?
I can see it enough to see if you get it.
Okay.
It's real small though.
Okay, let's go for it here. So I'm gonna let's see what. Not the first time, putting more tension on it. Not the second. There we go. See it?
Good job.
Third time. Thank you, Julio. Appreciate it. But that's cool. Oh man, that's good, Tyler. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here, and it's been a lot of fun to get to know a little bit more about you and to see those cool tools that you're over that bottom and top of the keyway, and then the latch tool. What is the name of that again?
This one?
Yeah,
Hydra shove knife.
The Hydra?
Yes, sir.
Hydra shove knife. I like it. Very cool. And then you know what? While we're at it, what is that little? Is that like a little creature on there, or that the laser engraving?
Let's see if I can show you. There you go. The Hydra dragon.
All right. That's cool. My daughter she loves dragons, so I'll have to share that. That's cool. But well, all right. Well, hey, Tyler, sounds good. Once again, thanks for being here and hanging out and showing your stuff. And lastly, I really do appreciate you allowing us to sell those rewind picks. So they've been a really big hit.
I'm glad they're doing well for you.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, thank you. All right, Tyler. Well, hey, have a good one. I'm sure we'll be chatting soon.
Yep. Bye.
Awesome. We'll see ya. All right, everybody. Well, how cool is that? Hopefully that answers so many of the rewind pick questions. And, I figured why have me try to go over and explain it to you when we can get the one and only creator of them, right? Are you with me on that or what? All right, everybody. Hey, take care. Stay safe out there. Keep doing that good work. And we'll see you in the videos.